If I wanted to upgrade the electrical system on my car truck again, I wouldn't do a big 3 upgrade, but this is what I would do. I have my body ground, my engine block ground, my chassis or frame ground, the alternator bracket ground, my starter wire, my fuse box wire, and my positive charging wire to the alternator. If you wanted to do something like this, I'll show you step by step on how to do the wiring just like a pro. I even went ahead and did the hood light wire. 1000 watt. Yeah, you definitely don't want this. It's the same concept for different car and trucks. Here on my 01 Tahoe, you can see the battery terminals look a little bit different, but I have the same excess power D3400, all the grounds, the positive charging wire for the alternator, and they come on down this way. There's the alternator bracket ground. This one's real easy to get to. The positive charging wire on the alternator, and they run along this way to the firewall. So we're grounding the body down to the motor. That's an extra ground. And there's my hood light ground. Here we have a 98 Sierra, and we're gonna be working on it today. We wanna make it more reliable. Sometimes the truck starts and sometimes it doesn't. It does run and drive when it does, but I think the main issue is gonna be down here by the battery. Here you can see it looks pretty old. It's from 2019. The wires are all corroded. I went ahead and cut it just to make sure how it looked inside, but it looks like it's all bad. There's the factory ground. That one's loose. The positives don't look too bad. This one's an aftermarket wire, but it's also all corroded. And you know we need all the power to make this thing reliable. So we're gonna swap out the battery, do the big 3, or more like a 5, 6, 7 upgrade. These are some of the items I'll be using today for this project. We have a excess power D3400. These are some great batteries. Some Sky High 0 gauge OFC. Make sure it's OFC because you want real copper. And this one is 0 gauge. I have some blue and black. Also the lug terminals for the wiring, because these are oversized. You want to make sure they're also Sky High. I got some braided sleeve for the positive and negative. I did go ahead and order more for the negative because I'm kind of running low. The new flat spot terminals to make the connections easier. Heat shrink to cover them all up. And a new battery bolt and holder because this battery was just kind of flying around. The cutters and crimpers for the 0 gauge. I'll be using a little bit of outdoor Tesa tape to clean it up and some zip ties. But I'll have all these items down below in the description if you guys want to go ahead and check them out. Let's take this battery out first. I already got all these loose. We're gonna need this one. Look at those wires. We might reuse this. If not, I'll redo it. Right now the battery's strapped with this coat hanger, and we're just gonna go ahead and put our new bolt and bracket down there. So let's go ahead and cut this off. There's the old bracket. All right, that old battery's out, and now I can see the tray better. I'll start by making this small body ground since it'll be tucked in the back, and also with the engine block ground right at the bottom. Let's see if you can see it. That bolt right there. I might just clean it up with some brake cleaner first because it looks like it has a lot of oil and I want a good connection. I just went ahead and unbolted the tray. It was real simple to take it out. 4 13mm bolts and 1 13mm nut. The nut goes on this side below. There's 1 bolt that goes here and 3 on the bottom side. But you can see I already have it all loose. There's the whole tray. And you can see it's all rusted out. There's the 2 bottom spots and the other one. So not too bad to take it off. I'm just gonna wait on the new one. From the bottom, you can see where they go bolted. One here, 2, and 3 all the way on the bottom side. And then this is the other one right over here. So real easy to get to. There's a lot of space down here, but that should help out for doing the bottom grounds on the chassis and the motor. That looks a little bit cleaner. I just got the new bracket in. It looks way better versus this original one. It was all ate up. You can see all the metal that was missing, and the brackets, they all look the same. So it should be a pretty simple install. There's a stud for the bottom nut. Here's the factory ground that was on the fender. And there's a 10mm bolt. I've already started making this ground, and it's right over here. Yeah, that looks much better. I did go ahead and make it a little bit longer so that when I put the battery, it's not too tight. The braided sleeve and the heat shrink clean it up real nicely. Just like if you bought it off the shelf. I made sure to get the correct size lug terminal for the oversized wiring. It fits real good. Just like that. And I do have a standard one. It's a little bit smaller, but it is 0 gauge. You could use it, but it'll be a little bit harder. We're just gonna go ahead and use the correct size. We wanna make sure these are on the 0 gauge setting. That should be it right there. All right, that's 0 gauge. And I'm doing them on the floor to get more leverage. That's the first one. I'll just go ahead and go around to make it all even. Yeah, those crimps are nice and tight. This wire's not going anywhere. And after I do finish crimping them, I like to cover them up with a bit of 3M tape so that all the exposed copper is not visible and I don't get any water inside. That's a little bit better with the 3M tape. It's still not fully waterproof, so I will go ahead and add some heat shrink to prevent some water and corroding my wire, just like the factory one. I have some marine grade down here, so I'll go ahead and cut some, and that should make it much better and look a little bit nicer. You can see the adhesive coming out at the bottom. Now we have a solid connection and a watertight seal with this marine grade heat shrink. And we could go ahead and install the wire just like this, but we want to take it a step further and add the braided sleeve to give it that custom look. And we'll go ahead and do that by cutting this a little bit longer than your wire. Don't cut it too short, because whenever you slide it in, the thickness will make it a little bit shorter. To seal it up, we'll just end up using the sky high heat shrink. I'll cut it a little bit longer than my wire so it doesn't get too short. So maybe around this area. Let's go ahead and slide it on and you'll see right here. There you can see how much it lost. So try not to cut it too short. I like to hold it with some 3M tape. Try not to apply too much heat at the bottom of the sleeve. And that's how you do your very own Big 3 or Big 4 upgrade wires like a pro. I gotta make sure I got these all right, because we have the supervisor out here. It always starts with a Big 3 upgrade, but I ended up with 7 wires. I have the charging wire for the alternator. This one's the only 12 volt. I have an engine block ground, a alternator ground, a chassis ground straight to the frame, a body ground for the cabin, and we also have another body ground here. This one's going to the fender from the factory. And I also decided to do this last ground for the hood light. It's not required, but I wanted to keep it all even. You can never have enough grounds. I could actually do a little bit more, but this should be good enough for today. And if you guys are enjoying this content so far, don't forget to hit that like button down below, and let's get to installing these wires. The factory fuse box wire has some exposed copper, so I'll cut it, add a new terminal, and also clean up this side. It looks a bit corroded. You can see it right there, it's a bit rusted, and the terminal looks green. So let's take this apart and also clean it up. It came out all together with the stud, but that definitely looks pretty bad. So I'm glad I'm gonna go ahead and fix it right now. And that's the side it goes to the fuse box. All the copper still looks good, so I'll go ahead and reuse this one. I just went ahead and cut off those old terminals. I'm using 4-gauge terminals, so I just folded the copper. That's way better. Now I shouldn't have any issues with power to the fuse box, and I'll probably have to end up checking also the starter wire. The back cover. Looks just like factory. Yeah, it's much better now. And it runs all the way to the front, ready for the battery. I also went ahead and redid the starter wire. It goes all the way down there. It's going through the factory grommet, and I also added some high heat Tesa tape and heat shrink since it's real close to the engine. But there's the starter wire, and it looks also much better. All right, let's go ahead and bolt up this tray. There's the bottom stud. Before I put my battery, I'll go ahead and bolt up my factory fender ground. The battery's in place now, and this ground is still loose since I might have to move it around. I'll just go ahead and lock this battery in with the new holder. There's the new slot. It's got a new 10mm bolt. That's nice and sturdy now. I'll just go ahead and install the positive post, and you can also see the marks. You can see the plus sign and the negative for the negative side. I'll move the fender ground over to give me some more space, and I'll go ahead and get the chassis ground or frame ground from this factory bolt. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove this bracket. I already have it loose, but you can see this bolt. It's got a bracket on there holding this line. I've already cleaned the frame, and I'll just go ahead and bolt it down. That's the frame ground straight to the battery, and I'll go ahead and move on to the engine block ground. And you can see it's pretty dirty back there. The factory engine block ground uses this stud with a 14mm and a separate 14mm nut holding a smaller ground. You can see it a little bit right there. There's a small factory ground, and you can see the block is clean down there. My engine block ground is complete, and you can see the wire running up to the top of the battery. I also deleted the fender ground. It started spinning. Here's the factory wire. And now I'll go ahead and do the alternator bracket ground straight to the battery. I'm gonna be using the alternator bracket bolt. It fits right under the bracket. The cat's watching from the bottom. It's a 10mm bolt. Try not to over tighten it, because you can break the aluminum. And that's our alternator bracket ground, straight to the battery again. Alright, right now we have 3 grounds: our engine block ground, our chassis ground, and our alternator bracket ground. But I'll have to run right now the body ground since I did remove it from the fender. I'm gonna catch it at the wall right over here. There's a 10mm nut, so I'll run that straight to the battery. I like doing it better that way, to ground the actual body, and you know, a lot of aftermarket electronics get ground from there instead of the fender. While I'm back here doing my body ground, I'll also remove this ground for the hood light and upgrade it to a 0 gauge. It's not required, but I just want to do it so it can look a little bit better and match our wiring. And we have our mechanic over here. He's making sure we're doing it right. That's a 11mm. A 7mm. I removed all the loom, and you can see this ground is actually riveted on to the hood light. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it and run my new wire. There's the hood light ground, and I also added new loom for the positive side. And my body ground is just running again straight to the battery. So that's all the grounds done. The last wire will be the charging positive side for the alternator back on this bolt, and then I can actually bolt up all 3 power wires to the battery. I got the wire started, but I also purchased these rubber boots to cover up the back of the bolt. They fit over the terminal, and you can just slide it all the way down. Alright, everything's complete now. I got my grounds and all my positives. I also added the rubber boots at the end. But this is the only 0 gauge going to the alternator. So that's the charging wire. You can also add a fuse holder if you want to. I decided not to do it. I have my starter wire. This one's original. I just went ahead and cleaned it up. And the main fuse wire for the fuse box on the truck. That's pretty much it. All the grounds, and there's the hood light. It's working just like normal, but I think it looks better with the 0 gauge on it. Let's go ahead and try it out for the first time because it was having a lot of issues starting. Let's try it again. Yep, it starts right up. Hey, it did great. It started right up. I went ahead and added the meter to see what it's metering at, and it's charging right at 14.6. That's pretty good. So the zero gauge definitely helped out, and it'll need a lot of maintenance now. There's all the wiring. This is the stock alternator. Put on some good air. Got the headlight. Let me know what you guys think on this setup. Still needs a lot of work. The dash is cracked and the speedometer is not working properly. Kind of has the needles dancing around. I think the speed doesn't work at all, only the tach. But it sounds good. It's starting to come down to like 14.4. My Tahoe's idling right at 14.6 volts. And this is with the high output alternator. It's a DC powered 370 XP. Well, now it starts reliably, but it'll still need a little bit more work. And the battery's just resting at 13.2. The alternator was around 14.4 once it idled. And it will need a new serpentine belt. It's all cracked. So I'll probably end up changing this as well. The factory fuse block wire goes here, but it's missing some of the clips. There's one, and I'll just go ahead and add some tapping screws with some of these zip ties to hold it all down so it doesn't move around. I ended up just putting two. This one's still good. There's the other one. I just got the original belt off and check it out, it's completely cracked. And I got the new one from Gates. I'll go ahead and install this one right now. All right, I got the new belt on. It looks different with the green color. Now the truck is ready for any electrical upgrades, and I can see this person definitely wants a bigger system because they try to add some speakers down here. They cut them all out. It doesn't look that good. And there's some bullet tweeters on the doors, also some smaller tweeters, but it'll require a lot of work. And I also noticed there's some amplifiers under the seat. It might be like a 4-channel or a sub amp. There's a bass knob down there and the aftermarket radio. And on this side is probably like a subwoofer amp, but they're not hooked up right now since I had to redo all the wiring. I was checking it out and there's actually some subwoofers back here. It says massive, must be like massive audio. They look like 10-inch. All that wiring under the seats. This is what you don't want. Let's see. It's a Kicker 4-channel. It's a 250.4. There's all the connections. So it could definitely be way better than this, and you don't want your amps just hanging around. Oh, check this out over here. I actually found another battery. It doesn't look connected though. Maybe they thought they needed an extra battery for the system. I'm not sure. There's more wires under there and a nice ground on the seat. Yeah, you don't want to go ahead and do this. That's a real background. And the amp's over here. So this one is the subwoofer amp. It's an audio pipe, 1000 watt. Yeah, you definitely don't want this. Let's see if we can get any sound out of this radio. It's the Pioneer. There's the station. I don't hear anything. Yeah, this radio is probably not hooked up to the door speakers. They're on this 4-channel. So everything needs to get rewired, but at least now it's ready for a fresh start. I placed an order for this dash cover, and it still doesn't have any adhesive, but it fits on pretty good. Even the cover fits on. The door pin works. I might add some more silicone or something to try to keep it down, but there's actually no dash in this area. It was all cracked, and it actually fits pretty nice. Here I'll have to maybe put a bit of silicone. I'll have the dash cover link down below in the description if you guys want to go ahead and check it out. If this video helped you out or you like this content, don't forget to like and share. And if you want to see more like this, don't forget to check out the next video here.